Influencer fights have taken the world of combat sports by storm. Millions of fans tune in, record-breaking pay-per-view numbers are shattered, and some of the most outrageous spectacles in sports history unfold in front of our eyes. YouTubers, TikTok stars, and social media celebrities are stepping into boxing rings and MMA cages, drawing attention and money like never before. But here's the question. Are these fights revolutionizing combat sports, or are they destroying the very foundation of the sport? The spectacle is undeniable. Logan Paul versus KSI, for instance, drew millions of viewers worldwide, turning a YouTube rivalry into a global event. Jake Paul, a former social media star, has crossed into professional boxing, taking on ex-UFC fighters and generating media coverage that professional bouts often envy. And yet, with every punch and viral highlight, the tension grows. Are we witnessing the future of combat sports, a new era where entertainment and athleticism merge? Or is this just a circus for clicks, cash, and social media fame? Influencer fights are matches featuring social media personalities or celebrities who have little to no formal training in combat sports. Unlike professional boxers or MMA fighters, these competitors often enter the ring with a few months of training, relying as much on personality, hype, and marketing as skill. The phenomenon truly exploded with the 2018 to 2019 bouts between Logan Paul and KSI. Their first fight, an amateur boxing match, drew over 2.5 million pay-per-view buys, making it one of the most watched online boxing events ever. The rematch, held as a professional bout, generated even more revenue and attention, proving that social media influence could rival traditional athletic prestige. Then came Jake Paul, who turned influencer fame into a boxing career. He has fought former UFC fighters like Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley, earning tens of millions per fight and sparking debates about skill, legitimacy, and spectacle. Sponsors, media outlets, and streaming platforms have poured millions into these events, showing the massive financial scale of influencer fights. But while the numbers are staggering, the question remains, are these truly legitimate sports events that contribute to combat sports, or are they entertainment spectacles that prioritize fame and social media engagement over skill, safety, and sporting integrity? Influencer fights are often criticized, but there's no denying their appeal, both as entertainment and as a business phenomenon. These events attract millions of viewers, many of whom might never have watched a traditional boxing or MMA match. In that sense, influencer fights are creating an entirely new audience for combat sports, particularly among younger fans who consume content online rather than through cable TV or live events. From a financial perspective, the numbers are staggering. Logan Paul versus KSI reportedly generated over $12 million in pay-per-view sales for the first fight and around $15 million for the rematch, along with tens of millions in sponsorship deals. Jake Paul's professional bouts, including his victory over former UFC welterweight Ben Askren, reportedly earned him $20 to $30 million per fight. These figures rival or even surpass some traditional bouts, proving that influencer fights are not only entertainment, but also a significant revenue stream. Proponents argue that these fights bring exposure to combat sports in ways traditional events cannot. The hype generated on social media platforms, YouTube, and TikTok creates a global conversation. Fans who once ignored boxing or MMA are suddenly invested in a story, a rivalry, or a personality. This influx of attention can benefit gyms, amateur fighters, and smaller promotions that might otherwise struggle to attract an audience. Finally, the entertainment value cannot be overstated. Influencer fights combine the drama of social media rivalries, the spectacle of live production, and the thrill of real combat. In many ways, they operate like a blend of professional wrestling and boxing, where storytelling and hype are as important as punches landed. For millions of viewers, that combination is irresistible, and it's redefining what a fight can look like in the 21st century. While influencer fights generate massive audiences and revenue, they also raise serious concerns about legitimacy, safety, and the integrity of combat sports. Unlike professional athletes, influencers typically enter the ring with minimal training. This creates a risk not just for themselves, but also for anyone in the event, from referees to sparring partners. Injuries can be severe, and the spectacle often prioritizes entertainment over proper safety protocols. Legitimacy is another major issue. Traditional boxing and MMA fighters spend years honing their craft, building records, and climbing ranks. Influencer fights bypass that process entirely. Jake Paul's bouts against ex-UFC fighters, for example, sparked heated debates in the combat community. Critics argue that these matches aren't truly reflective of skill, but of social media influence and financial leverage. When a celebrity with months of training can fight a seasoned professional, purists feel the sport's standards are undermined. Pay-per-view culture intensifies the problem. Fights are often booked based on clicks, hype, and audience numbers rather than fair competition. Rivalries are manufactured online for drama, creating events that resemble reality TV more than authentic sport. A loss or injury becomes a spectacle, and the line between sport and entertainment blurs. Moreover, the ethics of influencer fights are complex. Young fans may be encouraged to believe that success in combat sports is about fame rather than dedication, discipline, or skill. The sport risks being reduced to a viral trend, where followers, likes, and sponsorships matter more than athletic merit. Influencer fights are undeniably controversial, and the debate over their place in combat sports is heating up. On one side, supporters argue that these events are a revolutionary evolution of the sport. They bring unprecedented exposure, attract younger audiences who might otherwise never watch boxing or MMA, and inject massive amounts of money into the industry. For instance, the Logan Paul versus KSI rematch drew millions of global viewers and became a media spectacle, while Jake Paul's career has generated tens of millions per fight and introduced mainstream fans to professional boxing and MMA. Supporters also point out that influencer fights can benefit the broader combat sports ecosystem. Young fans drawn in by viral personalities may eventually become loyal followers of traditional athletes or amateur gyms. Smaller promotions can leverage the increased attention to attract sponsors, boost ticket sales, and grow local fight scenes. In this sense, influencer fights act as a gateway, a modern marketing tool that expands the reach of combat sports to new demographics, particularly Gen Z and younger millennials. On the other hand, critics argue that these fights are fundamentally undermining the integrity of combat sports. Traditional athletes spend years, and sometimes decades, developing their skills, facing real competition, and risking their bodies for recognition. When a social media celebrity with minimal training steps into the ring and earns massive pay-per-view revenue, it raises ethical questions. Does fame now outweigh skill? Should financial clout determine the next big fight rather than merit, rankings, or athletic achievement? Jake Paul's victories over former UFC fighters like Ben Askren and Tyron Woodley have fueled these debates, as critics claim that these matches were mismatched spectacles designed more for clicks than competitive legitimacy. Safety and regulation are also major concerns. Unlike professional bouts, influencer fights often skirt the traditional structures that protect fighters, referees, and trainers. While insurance, referees, and ringside medics are present, the risk of injury increases when competitors lack years of conditioning, technical training, and ring experience. Beyond physical safety, there's a moral argument. These events could encourage younger audiences to undervalue discipline, preparation, and respect for the sport, promoting the idea that fame and social media influence are sufficient to succeed. Finally, there's the philosophical question. What is the future of combat sports supposed to look like? Are we entering a new era where entertainment, marketing, and spectacle dominate? Or are influencer fights a passing fad, a viral trend that will fade once audiences demand authentic skill and competition again? Traditionalists fear the former, that boxing, MMA, and other combat sports may evolve into arenas where popularity outweighs merit. Proponents hope for a hybrid future where the energy and audience of influencer fights coexist with professional skill, creating a broader, more financially sustainable ecosystem. Ultimately, the debate isn't just about clicks, views, or pay-per-views. It's about the very identity of combat sports. Are we valuing skill and discipline, or are we letting spectacle and celebrity define the ring? Influencer fights are more than just a trend. They are a reflection of how the world of combat sports is evolving in the digital age. They merge entertainment, social media fame, and traditional athletic competition in a way the sport has never seen before.